Photography is my passion, and this is my paintbrush. I would do it even if nobody was paying me, which is currently the case. Yeah, I don't know. Just took some selfies. A bunch of girls said I was hot. Started posting some TikTok dances, and rest is history. No way! I'm getting exposure in exchange for a post. Now, luckily, you don't need to live in your parents' basement to get by as a content creator, and you definitely don't need to post TikTok dances. How do you start this thing? Today, I'm gonna show you how to become financially independent as a digital nomad content creator. These are the 15 strategies, tips, and secrets with no BS that will allow you to do this right at the end of this video. And I'll also take you through an entire month of client shoots as I take you through Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and now Jamaica. Before we jump into the 15 strategies, I just want to say, for those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Christian, and at the age of 21 years old, I realized I didn't want to be an accountant, and even though I had no skill as a creator, I was going to find a way to make it work. Through 5 years of trial and error, this has been the product. 𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗕𝗦𝗢𝗡, the channel you watch here, as well as building my second 7-figure business, which was my creator academy known as Lost Creator Academy. So if you're wondering why should you listen to this guy, it's because I've been in your shoes, I've been at the very beginning with no one there to help me, and I've learned through trial and error how you can do the exact same. So let's get straight into it after a quick flight. With every client comes a brand new office. This has to be one of my favorite ones yet, but let's get right into it. You must niche down. Now, this has never been made more apparent to me than after my last visit to Vid Summit just a week ago, where I learned that there are content creators with 2,000 subscribers having $60,000 product launches. You don't need millions of followers, subscribers to make a great living out of this. I think a lot of people fall into the trap of thinking, I need to go for a big subject. I need to go for all of travel, and I need to apply to the entire English-speaking market, when maybe you would have been better off focusing in on Estonia, speaking in your local language of Estonian. By being a bigger fish in a smaller pond, you may very well have the best chance of standing out from the competition, and certain niches will allow you to be incredibly profitable even with a smaller audience. Now, the same can be said for freelancers. Who are you more likely to hire if you're looking for a wedding videographer? Are you just gonna go to the random video house down the street, or are you going to hire the people that do wedding video work? Well, odds are pretty good we're going to trust the specialist. That's why it's great for you, whether you're freelance or a content creator, to create your niche and start on that today. Don't be afraid that you're gonna get stuck there, because you're able to pivot and shift once you build that initial community. But this is the best place to start, especially when in 2021 there are millions of YouTube channels, but there's only one of you, so make sure you have your niche. Now let's talk about gear. You're not here watching me right now because this is being recorded on a $5,000 camera setup. I would argue that if I filmed it on this, you'd still be watching. These phones, from Android to iPhone, are coming out with such high-performing cameras. The only downfall of a phone is going to be the audio quality. If you already have a high-quality phone camera, then the next investment is getting yourself a microphone. Pair these two things together and you are ready to start your YouTube channel, your Instagram page, and your TikTok. There's almost been an entire 180 of people pushing back from this over-refined content. If there's one word I can put it to, is people want real. In 2018, it was all about the look at me. It was all about the fart content.
Did you really just say that?
I just said that. What does it mean, Chris?
Fart content means go around, relax, travel.
Always good to have an industry expert. It's become more important than ever before to not lean in on the high quality camera and lenses, but rather to ask yourself, what is the story or concept that you're leaning into? If you're doing short form, just use your phone. If you're doing long form, just get yourself that microphone upgrade. The barrier to entry has never ever been so low. The next is become a master in content. Now, a lot of us may look to our favorite content creators and think that they just got there by luck. They posted that one video and everything just took off from there. But the truth is, most of us, including myself, had to start here.
Hello, and welcome to my channel.
This is how most of us start, by taking a swing and an absolute miss, and then doing it 100 more times. And the best part of all of this is that if you go to all of our YouTube channels and search by oldest video, you can actually look at our track record. You can see for yourself, in some regard, our progression mixtape, how we made this journey happen. It's like a giant tutorial on how to improve as a content creator. Now fast forward that, if you start watching the newest content from some of your favorite content creators, you should study it. How do they do their call to action? How do they end their video? It might not always seem on the surface like there's something deep going on behind the scenes, but in reality, a lot of us have formulas. A lot of us have developed systems through trial and error. Don't get me wrong, you're gonna have to go out there and make your first video like I did. But ultimately, you can skip a lot of the learning curve by trying to understand what the people you follow are doing and surrounding yourself with content creators that help you get further ahead faster. Now, the last thing I want to neatly tie into this is that it's not just about the technical, it's also about the creative. When you have content that makes people feel, then they are far more likely to come back to watch your content again, and they're far more likely to watch through the entire video. A successful content creator has to understand the balance between the science and the creative. And when you bring it all together, it will be you one day that others are studying. The next point is you must retrain your mind. If I were to ask you to share your daily life, you'd probably say, but why would I do that? I'm not interesting enough. I work a 9-to-5 job. My life is mostly inside of these 4 walls. This is the most common pitfall that a content creator will fall into. That is believing that their story is not good enough to be shared. And this is where we have to start, by unleashing our mind and not asking ourselves, how is our life more interesting than someone else's? But how are we going to share it in a way that allows for others to connect? You may think your life is a little too dull right now, but if you're waiting for the perfect day to make the content, you're missing the point. The point is to get started today and to relate with people. Be vulnerable, be honest. You can share the financial struggles you're dealing with. You can share the fact that you're trying to escape the 9-to-5. I bet you that alone has been enough to relate to probably 90% of you guys. This was the early message of 𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗓𝗦𝗍𝗓, a broke backpacker that didn't know what he was doing. There was a while where I was documenting my life of quitting my 9-to-5, working at a Best Buy, setting it up, doing construction type labor jobs so that I could make a little bit of pocket money to invest in my business. It was incredibly relatable. The difference between you and your favorite content creator likely isn't actually all that much. The real difference here is that they have been extremely willing to share where you have probably kept your life private. If you're willing to open up a little bit, make yourself vulnerable for a split moment in time, you will be so grateful that you did it. By opening up my life, it gave me confidence, it gave me opportunity, and now I get to help others, and that's honestly the best part of all of this. So my challenge for you is, if you decide to cook that meal, make a little video about it. If you're going on a hike this weekend with your friends, bring a camera and document it. Put it on YouTube, put it on TikTok, and see what happens. 2021 is a time where people want raw and real content, so share it with them. Okay, so we're just getting started, but I've got to go pack my bags because in about an hour and a half, I've got a flight heading to my next client project. On our way to Dubai right now, and let's get into the next point. That is that you need to stand out. We already talked about the benefit of niching down, but let's take it a step further. When I say stand out, I mean in all aspects of your business. When I try to partner with world-class airlines to get a business seat, I want to make sure that my collaboration request is standing out from the rest. Through trial and error, I've created templates that in time have increased my closing rate. One of the things that's made the biggest difference this year is upping my media kit. Everything that you'd need to know in a short couple of pages, now we actually have it on a website. So instead of linking a PDF, we link our website. The reason I do that is because it's a little bit more professional, but also it's far easier for me to update. Now, the thing that I've really done to step out from the crowd is by working with other businesses around the world, I've had many successes. And so the best way to tell other businesses what I can do for them is for other business owners to say, this is what happened when we worked with Christian LeBlanc. In just a couple of days, I'm going to be updating it again and actually including a testimonial video, which is going to take it even that step further. So if you've had businesses or partners that you've worked with, make sure you're including that in your media kit because it really shows the brands what you can do for them. Thank you. More Christian LeBlanc. Here is the whip. And welcome to Dubai. So we all dream of quitting our job and getting straight into it, just diving into becoming a content creator, living the life on the road. But the reality is, we're gonna need a certain level of stability to be able to make a bit of money. We can't necessarily just cut out that 9 to 5 altogether. And that's where it all comes down to having a monetizable skill. It's some sort of service that you can do for somebody else to earn some money while being off abroad building your dream business. Now, if you're feeling like, I can't do that, I don't have a monetizable skill, I will challenge you, because you may very well have one without even knowing it. There's actually a ton of different jobs that allow people to work as long as they have an internet connection. For me, one of those key skills has been photography and videography. It's how I was able to earn some money in my early days, even when my videos very clearly looked like they were edited by an accountant. Those early contracts allowed me to earn sometimes $100, sometimes $500, and as I started to develop my skill, my price went up with it. Doing these things will take up your most valuable resource, and that is your time. Using our weekends to shoot for other people, working late into the night to get those projects finished. But again, most of us will have to do this at the start, because if we don't put money on the table, then how are we gonna keep doing what we love? So to bring it back, learn that monetizable skill, help solve somebody else's problems, and all of this will allow you to gain financial stability during this building process without ever having to set foot in an office. Another day, another hotel room, and it's time to pack my suitcase because I've got a flight to Saudi Arabia in 4 hours for another exciting project. But let's talk about one of the key foundations of building a strong business. You've heard the term, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Well, you definitely don't want to put all of your expectations of earning money on one revenue source. Statistically, the average millionaire actually has 7 revenue sources. So let's talk about some of those sources that will enable you to be able to not only travel the world, but be able to earn a great income doing it. The first off is building that monetizable skill, but we've been over that. One of the great income sources is YouTube AdSense. For every view, I get 55% of the revenue earned on my channel. The other 45% goes to Google. But all that said, if you have a healthy business, this should not be your primary income source. The amount of money I make on Facebook is nominal, but with YouTube AdSense, I'm currently making about maybe 10% of my monthly income. Some creators will have higher CPMs or amount that they get paid per view than others. In the travel space, with a very international audience like my own, I'm somewhere in the low to mid-tier CPM, whereas people that are doing, like, let's say finance reviews, talking about credit cards, they might be literally earning 10 times the amount that I'm earning on a view. The next step is sponsorships, and as you guys know, I have 2 separate businesses. On the 𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏 LeBlanc front, my YouTube channel, this is by far my primary income source. Up to 2019, sponsorships are basically how I kept this channel running and was able to earn a healthy profit. For somebody to take up a 60-second ad slot, or what I call an integration, is going to help pay the bills, the travels, the team, and of course pocket a little bit of profit. But the thing you need to be careful of is just throwing in any sponsorship. I know what it's like to be an early creator, and when you get that first brand offer, you might be willing to say yes to a brand you're not particularly excited about. But I would challenge you, especially if you have that monetizable skill, it might be better off not to take those short-term wins, and if the brand is not well aligned with your brand and your audience, then do what's best for your long-term vision. Say no, find other ways to make money. Now, while this has been a great income source, there's been many periods of my business where there's been downturns in sponsorships, and this comes back to why it's so important, guys, to have diversification. Another great income source has been affiliate income. And for me, my #1 affiliate income is by far Epidemic Sound. I have earned well into the 6 figures by sharing one of my favorite services. They are my go-to place to find music for all of my YouTube videos. I have access to tens of thousands of songs and sound effects, and when I use them in my videos, I will never have to worry if my video will be claimed for copyright infringement. I will be able to earn 100% of the income on those videos, and on top of that, I'm able to use music that actually brings my videos to a new level. Back in 2017, I was finding all my music by going on SoundCloud and searching the internet for music from small and up-and-coming artists. I would say 85% of my old content is all claimed now by these small artists. Now I earn basically 0 passive income on my old videos. I have lost time. I have lost tens of thousands of dollars on using independent creators' music, but then I came across Epidemic Sound and my life literally got better. When I get paid to make my audience's life better, that is literally one of the best ways in the world that I can make money. Another great one has been Amazon, where I can basically link any of the products that I use, from cameras, camera accessories, and even travel gear like a backpack. By putting it in a description link, if somebody clicks on that link and then goes and buys the product, or if they buy the product and add dog food to their cart, you take about 5 to 10% of the revenue earned on that sale. And yes, I've literally made money on someone buying dog food. Now, another great income source for some channels is going to be subscription communities. Most of us will have freely available content on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, or YouTube, but not everything needs to be given away for free. Sometimes you can have a paywall set up in front of some of your content. Maybe you're giving the behind the scenes to your channel, or maybe you're deep diving into some sort of educational content. Well, for that, the most popular platform is Patreon. And basically what Patreon allows you to do is set up a subscription model where people can pay a certain amount of money per month to get access to that content. And the benefit of subscription models is you don't have to charge a hefty upfront fee. Instead, you can have it at a very low price point, like $1. And while $1 in a single month isn't a big deal, if they're part of your community for the next 2 years, that's $24. And if you can get hundreds or thousands of people to join in on that, then this income source can really add up. The next income source is something I personally don't make much use of, but occasionally it's come up, and that's licensing. It's when somebody contacts me and says, hey, can we use that drone clip in our upcoming production? We'll pay you this amount for the rights for 3 years. This is where there's a very variable component. There's often a big guessing game. Now, the next income source is so important and so vital, and one that has allowed me to take my business to a whole new level, and that's something we'll talk about shortly, but spoiler, build your own product. Let's come back to that. You absolutely must, please, this is one of my biggest mistakes for not starting earlier, you have to start collecting an email list. When it comes to sales and marketing, a follower, a subscriber virtually means nothing. What really matters is how many people are you actually able to connect with and actually reach. Do you remember the days when you used to subscribe to a channel and actually get their videos? Yeah, I remember those days too. Just because someone follows you, subscribes to you, doesn't mean you get to reach them. You are very much at the mercy of an algorithm. Nowadays, I'm lucky if my video gets served up to 30% of my audience, and then I'm lucky if 10 to 15% of those people click on the video and watch it. But with an email list, you know you are going to be reaching majority of your audience. With emails, I personally get around a 35% open rate. It is without a doubt the best way to reach out to my core audience. The people that have taken the time to say, hey, I want to hear more from you. And when I post a link to go buy something on my YouTube video, I might get 200,000 views, but the amount of purchases that go through on an email list of 20,000 people is still significantly larger. My first ever e-product, I tried to sell directly on the landing page, and if somebody didn't buy it on spot, then I had no way to contact them again. But then I realized very quickly, what if I implemented an email list where I essentially gave a free trial to the product? And as soon as I did that, my Thailand video travel guide sales went up 4x. One of the other key benefits of emails is that they have such fast turnaround time. YouTube videos take me 2 weeks to produce, so with such a lead up time, it's really tough to share up-to-date information such as a time-sensitive sale. But with email, if I have a 5-day sale, then I can probably get 3 emails out to my audience and provide value. Even if you don't have your product ready to go, start collecting emails today. All right, on to the next one. If you remember the beginning of this video, I mentioned to you there was a YouTuber with 2,000 subscribers that made $60,000 on the opening of his product. That is the power of building a product that's designed for your audience. You don't need hundreds of thousands of subscribers to make a full-time income on YouTube or any social media platform. This all comes down to really understanding your audience. For me, my whole business led up to the moment of launching Lost Creator Academy. Today it's 150 videos, it's 75 hours of training, it's a custom-built website, it's daily mentorship from myself and my team, and it's a thriving community of over 3,000 content creators who are traveling the globe. And that has been the greatest blessing of my career. But how did that product come to be? And I'll tell you, it wasn't without immense risk, but the risk was very calculated. My first ever product was travel products. I launched a video guide on Thailand, on Peru, on the Philippines, on Bali, and they all had fairly good success. But then I released a product on how I edit a travel travel vlog. And to my surprise, it was by far my best seller, probably earning triple to quadruple what I was earning on my other products. This long form training video that was probably 4 hours long earned me about $20,000 in a single Black Friday period. And I realized at that point, people really value what I have to say in terms of film and photography and content creation. Maybe this is what people really look up to me for. And so it was time to go out there and build an entire academy. It was a scary thing because in my mind thought this would take 3 to 6 months. The more videos I made, the more I realized I need to talk about this. I need to talk about contract law. I need to talk about negotiations, how to build your logo, how to build your e-commerce platform. How do you use Lightroom, Photoshop, Premiere Pro? How do you use all of the different creative tools that enable you not to just run the business successfully, but actually make content that makes people want to hit follow and subscribe? And this became a mighty task. We locked ourselves in that office for the greater part of a year. I was no longer able to invest in creating amazing content for 𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗕𝗦𝗢𝗡. In the short term, I probably gave up about $200,000, maybe $300,000 in brand deals for my 𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗕𝗦𝗡 channel. I definitely lost out on growth and viewership and AdSense and affiliate income, but what I will say is that sacrifice paid off. The opening results absolutely dumbfounded me. In the first 2.5, 3 days, we did $450,000 in profit. I have now built my greatest income source. And the reason this story is so important is because your LCA, your product is out there. If you have an audience, you have an opportunity to build the same. Some of us will start by launching the wrong product, but just realize that it gets you one step closer to releasing the right product. A lot of the time, your audience will even tell you in your YouTube videos, I want more of this, I want more of that. These are the best indicators of what your audience actually looks up to you for the most. Your core audience will be the first people to help you understand what that product should be. And as long as you do it well in a way that benefits your audience, I can tell you right now, this will be the most rewarding income source of all of them. Although e-products aren't a fit for all businesses, if you have the opportunity to create one, they are definitely the way to go. All right, little bonus tip for you. Turn on the microphone when you're recording. I was just in Saudi Arabia and I recorded without that, but let's get right into it. The next up is you need to keep up with the social media trends. A lot of you guys probably know that Instagrammers in particular have been very frustrated that there's been a lack of growth prospects on the platform. Well, that's not entirely true if you manage to get on board with their newest system, and that is Instagram Reels. They've pushed short form video really hard for the last year, and there have been growth stories like never seen before. People going from 0 to millions in a span of just a few months. Now, before I explain why this matters, I want to go onto YouTube. I was speaking with Mr. Beast's team recently, and one of the teammates was explaining to me that YouTube stories for a few months was amazing for growth. When they posted new stories, they got a ton of new subscribers, a ton of views, and overall it brought a lot of people to the Mr. Beast platform. What do these things have in common? Well, they're new features rolled out by well-established platforms, and when that happens, a lot of the time there's a preferential treatment on the algorithm. They want people to try it out. So when you see a new feature come out, ask yourself, can you make the time available to try this feature out? Because you may very well find that there's exciting return to be had there. And it could be the difference between growing slowly and absolutely going parabolic. That's a big word for viral. Now this next point, guys, is literally one of the reasons I'm here today, and that is that you need to keep your costs low sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. When I first started my channel, I had $2,500 to my name and I booked a one-way ticket to Thailand. It was a matter of figuring out how to stretch out that money to create as much content as possible. Every video, I was thinking of it as a per dollar basis. So how do you minimize cost? Well, first of all, you cut down on where you're staying. I was staying in backpacker style hostels, guest houses, anything that was cheap and affordable. But not only did I want it cheap, I wanted it for free. I was creating some valuable exposure. At the time I was getting a few hundred views, and some of these videos would go on to get thousands of views by the relevant audience that would soon travel here. I would go door knocking, hostel to hostel, guest house to guest house. I would say, hey, can I have that bed in exchange for being put in today's daily video? No, 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 yes. It was a matter of just being persistent. Now, do I really want you to door knock on every hostel? Probably not. Especially if you have revenue streams, you might have more value in just booking your own place, cutting out that stress and that time. But seriously, this has to become a lifestyle. Instead of adding a $2 to $3 soda to every single meal, why don't you just pack a giant gallon of water and drink on the road? It's a lot healthier too. Now, this tight wallet mindset was really important when my wallet was tight.
What did he say?
But the truth is, I've maintained it to this day. This is where I was staying just a week ago before leaving for Saudi Arabia. Welcome to the new work site. We are just outside of downtown Dubai, and this is the average accommodation when I'm not working with a client. This is the bachelor pad for me and Chris, the honeymoon suite. There's all our gear, and this is Robbie's bed. He looked nice this morning.
Yeah, I was very comfy.
Now, as I said, there are times to spend money, and let's talk about that. When it comes to personal spending, such as the bed that you're sleeping on, such as the coffee that you're drinking, these are the places to cut down on your costs. They will not likely derive a future value to you. Once you've consumed it, it's over, it's done with, but there are places you should spend, and that comes to investing in your business. My frugality has been a blessing. It's the reason I've been able to get here, but it's also been one of the things that has stunted growth. I, for the first couple of years, was afraid to spend on money, to bring on teammates, to invest in better equipment. I was in a survival mindset, even when I no longer needed to be. Nobody will have it perfectly figured out, but let me tell you where you should spend. Invest in assets that will make your business stronger, and invest in things that will help free up your time. In order to understand how to free up your time, let's start by understanding the value of your time. Now, this is a little tricky to calculate, especially if your business isn't yet profitable, but here's the simplest way to put it. Now, let's say for a second that your value of time is roughly $50 per hour. If you spend an hour on hold with your telecom company for that $15 overage, you're going to be out $35 of valuable time. You're going to be at a loss, even though you technically got money back. This has to become your mindset if you're going to become successful. The same way door knocking for a hostel back in the day used to make sense for me. Now, it's more valuable for me to just pay the $100 or $150 for a room instead of trying to wrangle up a free collab every now and then. And when it comes to your team, the same can be said. If you are currently the one who is managing every single part of your business, ask yourself, what are the lower value parts of your business that can be rather easily passed off to someone else? It might require some level of risk, and that might be the monthly payment you're now taking on for the wage. My team is currently at 10 plus people, and we're growing rather quickly. It's been a scary thing to go from a broke backpacker that only had textbook understanding of business to now being out in the real world, having to do mathematical decisions of whether somebody is worth the return on investment. It's been a lot of learning, it's been a lot of stress at times, but I will say that I would not be able to be here today running an academy, running the 𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗓𝗕𝗦𝗓 LeBlanc channel, and now building a second channel if I wasn't willing to take that risk. Just tomorrow, we are flying out to Turkey, to Istanbul, because we rented out a 5-bedroom place so that my team can all get together, meet face to face, and really get down to how can we all be at our best over the coming year. All right, we have arrived in Istanbul with the entire team. And I'm losing my voice because we went out last night. So fun fact, Istanbul turns out to be a really affordable place to have a team retreat. From being here in a co-work space to our Airbnb, everything's been really reasonable, and I'm so glad that in just the last few days we've been able to connect and meet face to face, because it's made a huge difference for taking on bigger projects. And now let me share with you why it's been so key for us to meet, and that is my next tip, which is learning how to delegate. Once you get to a higher level in your business, as we talked about, you need to figure out what your greatest ROI opportunities are. How do you use your limited time in the day to navigate the ship? Well, if you're too caught up in the small things that ultimately can be done by someone else, then you're probably not using your time in the best way possible. So my challenge to you is to figure out what those ROI activities are, and once you figure out what activities can be done by someone else, start learning how to pass it on to them. Now, my team didn't go from 0 to 12 members overnight. It started off by adding an editor, and then a blog writer, and then adding a business assistant. But one thing I didn't exactly take into account was that as I added people to my team,
I needed to also learn ways to take myself out of the equation. Just 3 months ago, I started feeling immense decision-making fatigue. I had 10 people coming to me with questions, not able to move on to the next thing until I answered. And so this whole retreat has been about, if I need help with TikTok, I go to this person. If I need help with writing an email for Black Friday, well, I'm going to this person. And speaking of which, Black Friday is what we're currently working on here so that we can launch the biggest sale for Lost Creator Academy of the entire year. And that is now live.
This is our biggest sale ever, and if you join today, not only do you save 30%, but one lucky shooter will be joining me on a creator mentorship trip to an exotic destination, all expenses paid. And that's not even the end of it. If you want to see the entire benefit list, go check out that link down below. But let's get back to the video because we've got some incredible tips that you don't want to miss.
For some of you, this is the most important part of the whole video. I want you to get a piece of paper. On the left side, I want you to write down what's the worst case scenario of you becoming a digital nomad content creator. On the right side, write down the best case scenario. A lot of the time, your emotions are stacking up the pros and the cons, and you're not actually able to digest everything that's going on. That was the case when I weighed my options. For me, the worst case scenario was the finances. By leaving behind that prestigious 9-to-5 job, I lost financial stability. I didn't know where my next paycheck would come from. I realized I would need to sell most of my assets, like my car, and basically every other thing I had laying around the house that had monetary value. Another downside of this decision would be potentially alienating my family. At the time, I had told them the idea and they were not a fan of it. They wanted me to stay as an accountant at Ernst & Young. They wanted me to be stable. The other situation was I knew that becoming a content creator would open myself up to judgment. Back in the day, I wasn't that confident. Definitely not as confident as I am now. And so these things did chip away at me a little bit. But then, on the other side of the paper, I had that one realization where it all made sense. The reason I would do this was because it gave me a shot at being the greatest version of myself possible. When I stacked up the pros versus the cons, it became so apparent to me. Even the things that were holding me back, I started to realize weren't really risks at all. I would be able to make money one day in one shape or another. I know I'm not going to starve to death. And the more I've traveled on the road and met digital nomads, the more I've realized it's literally impossible to fail in this as long as you're putting in the time and being flexible. You will find ways to make money. And today I've realized that what others think of me is the least important thing in my life. When you start to make money, when you start to build your own stability and show your parents that you are doing what you love, they in time will start to understand it. Today, my parents are my biggest supporters, and I'm so grateful they're there for that. As for the friends on the side that are judging you, it doesn't really sound like they were great friends in the first place. So let them laugh, let them say what they will, because today, I can tell you, nobody's laughing. To become a digital nomad, there will be some limited risk, but when you start stacking the pros versus the cons, the risks versus the rewards, you'll realize very quickly that those risks are not so daunting after all, and you will find a way to overcome them. When this career becomes the thing that you live and breathe, the thing you think about before bed, and the thing that wakes you up in the morning, there's no question of will you be successful, but when. And with that, the last point is just do it. It's a little slogan of mine that I came up with the other day. It's pretty great, I know. Now guys, if I can share one last thing with you, it's that this journey is long, it's hard, there's a lot of hours, there's a lot of tears, and there's a lot of great successes that are waiting for you. But one of the best things to have in this journey is to have other content creators to share it with. Lost Creator Academy is a place where I have like 150 videos, I think we're up to 75 hours of training now, and it grows every month. But ultimately, the best thing about it is the fact that you are surrounding yourself with other content creators. We have creator meetups all around the world. Just today, about 5 creators from Paris met up. We have content creators that are traveling the globe creating content together. And with the upcoming launch of our 5-week accelerator program, we're going to be doing a deep dive that brings you through a step-by-step process to becoming a better YouTuber, a professional full-time storyteller. If that's something you dream about, then this is the best time to join us. Black Friday has just kicked off, and when this is over, unfortunately, it's going to be going back to full price. Enter to win all the amazing perks, as well as the grand prize of winning a one-on-one mentorship trip with me. If you don't know what Lost Creator Academy is, then let me spare you the details. Check out the link down below. On the website, you can actually check out the free 1-hour training, which will give you the 10 steps to go from beginner to pro as a content creator, as well as the 5 essentials to escape your 9-to-5 job. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please smash that like. It lets me know to make more of these, and let's get lost again in the next one.